We're here in Ireland for the penultimate leg of the 2019 series. Fighting for the top of the podium are 30 riders representing 7 nations. But the clock is ticking, time is running out. This is Eventing Reinvented. This is the Event Rider Masters.
Renowned for its rich equestrian history, the Event Rider Masters series comes to Ireland for the very first time, and it is the perfect setting for Leg 5 of 2019. The Glenglees Arena here in Millstreet is located just an hour or so west of Cork in the south of the country, and what a venue it is for this pivotal moment as the series race reaches fever pitch. 4 of the world's top 5 ranked riders, 8 former leg winners and all 3 previous series champions in the lineup, and a whole host of riders looking to make a late impact onto the series leaderboard. A very warm welcome to Ireland. The weather over the last couple of weeks has been a little bit damp to say the least, but the sun is shining here in Millstreet today for the dressage, and we cannot wait to see how the action gets underway. The dressage starts in around 25 minutes time. In the studio with me for the first phase, Mark Ruddock, List 1 dressage judge. Mark, brilliant to be here in Ireland, and it's your adopted home country as well.
And no carbon footprint for me on the travel. Yeah, really lovely to be here. Fantastic facilities, and I think we're lucky it's on a permanent showground because the weather, no one else could have run on a field site.
They've done an incredible job. The facilities here are brilliant, and it's a place that's formerly hosted the Eurovision Song Contest of all things.
We're in Westlife's former dressing room, I believe.
It's an absolutely brilliant, brilliant venue, and we cannot wait to see how the action unfolds. But you haven't just got Mark and myself here in the studio. Let's go and say a very good morning to Hannah White.
Well, good morning, Nicole. And the rain has held away so far. I can tell you that we are dry at the moment. So fingers crossed for a nice day of competition, weather-wise anyway. It is a stunning setting here at Millstreet. We've got the castle on the hill just behind us, and all the competition is going to take place just behind me. The big question is, who will run away with the scores in this first phase?
Well, the dressage here in Millstreet will be going to Echo Racings a little bit later to see what they can tell us about that. But of course, we are leg 4 in the series now. We've had 4 legs already. We've been to Chatsworth in Great Britain. We've been to Wiesbaden, Germany, Arville, Belgium, and of course, Chardy in France. 4 legs down, 2 to go. Let's remind ourselves of just how all the action has unfolded so far.
2019, the 4th year of the Event Rider Masters series, looks set to push the boundaries of equestrian sport even further. Tipped for the top ahead of the first leg were series favourites Chris Burton and Laura Collett. Also returning was the now FEI world #1 Tim Price with the world-renowned Wesco. With exceptional horsepower in his string and the world #1 ranking, he was a man on form. Riders also expected to make a serious assault were fan favourites Bill Levitt and Sarah Cohen, both pushing for the podium with renewed vigour. With the best 5 results counting towards the season championship, the competition and the road to Lignières-en-Berry was wide open. Leg 1, Chatsworth. Drama from the off saw Chris Burton withdraw after the show jumping. This, along with the absence of Tim Price, opened up the field for the likes of Laura Collett and Tom McEwen, with Collett ultimately taking the win and prized series points. Leg 2, Wiesbaden. The series saw a new field coming forward to stake their claim on the title, with double Olympic champion Michael Jung and defending leg champion Ingrid Klimke closing out the competition in 1st and 3rd place respectively, with Chris Burton setting his series score in 2nd place. Leg 3, Arville. Current contender Bill Levitt continued his clandestine assault on the series, tactically picking up the points. A dramatic safety device activation saw Chris Burton take 11 penalty points in the cross-country, securing a series lead but preventing him from defending his Arville title and catapulting the Prices to a 1-2 at the top of the podium. The gloves were very much off. Leg 4, Jardy. Further drama from Chris Burton, who withdrew before the dressage, opening the door yet again to give Janelle Price the series lead following a 6th place finish. Bill Levitt and Shannondale Titan picked up their 3rd top 10 finish in a row to gain a series boost up into 2nd place. But it was the young up-and-coming French superstar Gireg-Lecoz who topped the podium with Aspery de la Loge, jumping him into 4th place in the series standings. As we approach Millstreet in the penultimate leg of 2019, top contenders, fan favourites and the rising stars all jostle for the series top spot. With only 2 opportunities remaining, fortune will certainly favour the brave on the road to Lignières-en-Berry.
Well, as I say, 4 legs down, 2 to go. This is how the series leaderboard looks at the moment. It is Janelle Price out in front, 7 points clear of Bill Levitt, but he is the series leader this weekend. Janelle Price not in the lineup here in Millstreet. Chris Burton, the defending champion, hot on Bill's heels, 6 points adrift, and Gireg-Lecoz with those incredible runs in Arville and the win in Jardy, making a real series challenge with 51 points on the card for him. Big result here this weekend would really throw him into podium contention for the end of the year. Others that could really climb, Sarah Cohen, Tim Price and Tom McHugh in there as well. So the series itself is still wide open, but it must be said that this weekend it is about one man as to if he can capitalise on it. Bill Levitt, Mark, he's been a series favourite for some time. He needs to take advantage of the fact Janelle isn't here. Can he be the series leader come cross-country tomorrow afternoon?
We want to say yes, and it will be a yes. Those flags have to stay out of his way, but actually the horse is so on form, is so consistent, and Bill is just great, and the horse is great.
Stay between the flags, Bill. That's all you've got to do. Well, not all you've got to do, but you know what I mean. Chris Burton, he's the defending champion. He comes here on a horse that won in Blair Castle last year, has had a couple of other podium finishes as well. Surely he's a huge threat.
Well, when any competitor sees Chris on the start list, I mean, he's not here for the Guinness, is he? You know, he's competitive, he's hungry, and he's super professional.
And one other name that you think is going to throw themselves into contention this weekend?
I'm going to say Mr. Sam Watson.
Mr. Sam Watson. Well, watch this space. So that is how the series looks at the moment. And of course, it is a pivotal point here this weekend. But let's just take a look a little closer at ways you can get involved with our technology giants, SAP. Well, bringing in all the facts and the figures on each of our combinations here this weekend will be Echo Ratings, and they have got all the ways that you guys at home can get involved this weekend. Let's go and say a very good morning to Dan.
Thank you, Nicole. Yes, of course, one of the key ways that we've been looking at the Event Rider Masters is how do we get the fans involved? And SAP have been a key part of that, an app that we have grown to love over the last couple of years, spectator judging. This morning, you guys are able to really judge how those judges are doing, how those tests are doing. So you can judge along. It's something that is, of course, part of the Event Rider Masters Fan League, which we'll come to in a moment. Lots of people are going to be playing stacks this morning, Nicole. So the first question is already loaded. Mike Ryan, one of the most experienced riders that we have here in Ireland. He's a very tight dressage range, 82 tests, and we're still between that 36 and 38 mark. Is he going to do it again today? Of course, we have been hugely honoured to be part of the Hannah's Wilbury Wonder Pony story this year. That's the official charity. And again, contributing to that can get you those valuable Fan League points. There is a big opportunity to win a very special prize. So going to Stuttgart in the off-season this year to look at some eventing, that's what's up for grabs. And lots of other merchandise, lots of other prizes that you can win. And this weekend, if you're behind, so if you want to go catch those brilliant dressage judges and you're a stacks player, this weekend you've come to Ireland, Nicole, we're giving away double points. So if you're out there and you're picking your stack this weekend, it's worth double in Fan League points. Of course, don't forget about Saturday. We're going to talk about the competition soon, but 4 of the top 5 riders in the world are here at Millstreet in the Event Rider Masters. You can track all 4 of them and all the rest out there on Saturday with the SAP trackers. So lots to come, Nicole, lots of ways to keep all of the fans at home involved.
So many ways for you guys at home to get involved, and we hope you'll take advantage of double points and the bonus points questions on offer as well, because you can really build those points. An incredible serious prize on offer as well. I've got my stacks locked in, so make sure you do yours as well. But if you want to stay involved in the Event Rider Masters series between legs, then you can join the Event Rider Masters Platinum Club as well. And you can do that. Go to eventridermasters.tv. There's lots of exclusive content, behind the scenes stuff as well, and some very special yard tours coming up. We've had Bill Levitt, we've had Laura Collett, and Chris Burton with his fantastic brand new facility, I think, is in the pipeline for later this year. So go to eventridermasters.tv for more information there, and we hope you'll get involved with the Platinum Club. And you can get involved here this weekend. We all know that the grooms are the unsung heroes of the Event Rider Masters family. They're a huge, huge part of it. And we've got a brand new partnership with Equistro, who will be giving lots of special prizes. And there's a special cash prize as well. So you can vote using the hashtag EquiStroGroom on social media this weekend for your favourite groom. Make sure you get involved. It is a brilliant, brilliant new partnership. Let's go and find out more with Hannah.
Yes, Nicole, as you say, it really is exciting times, and I'm joined by Event Rider Masters CEO Jim O'Toole. Jim, tell us a little bit about this new partnership.
Well, it's really exciting to welcome Equistro to the ERM commercial family. It's really refreshing as a business to have a company research us and come to us with a concrete proposal as to how they want to engage with us. And in this case, they've identified the unsung heroes of eventing and of ERM, the grooms, as the people that they want to focus on. So this weekend we'll launch the Equistro Groom promotion, which will reward the best groom at this event. In fact, the top 3 grooms at this event. They will have their own podium after the show jumping phase, and that will lead into a Groom of the Year award after Linear. So we're really excited to have them on board. It's great to have the key group within our eventing community rewarded and engaged with by a sponsor. So we're delighted to have them on board.
Fantastic, Jim. It really is exciting times. Of course, it's not all about the riders. The grooms play such an important part, Nicole.
They really do. And make sure that you vote across social media this weekend. I've already seen a few campaigns started by the riders, so make sure you get involved as well. And actually, you'll be entered into a prize draw too, so don't miss out. Well, one thing that I always go to Dermot Ecker-Ratings Corner and ask, he doesn't like it when I do, but what does it take to win an Event Rider Masters leg? It's the first time the Event Rider Masters series is here in Millstreet, so I think we'd better go and ask him. Back to Ecker-Ratings Corner.
You ask me this every time, Nicole, what it takes to win an Event Rider Masters leg, and every time I give you the same answer. You got to be good in the first phase, you got to jump clear, you got to be fast. I don't think that's ever going to be more important than you see this weekend at Millstreet. Firstly, let's just dive straight in. What's the Eventing Prediction Centre telling us? Gemma Tattersall leads it right now. You guys can go and find this. It's on the Event Rider Masters site. It's on Ecker-Ratings site. Get there, have a look at what the percentages are. But Gemma Tattersall leads it on 15%. Tim Price, world number 1, just behind with Wesco. Then you got Oliver Townend, Emily King and Chris Burton. That's what the numbers are telling us right now. So that's always a really good place to start. But I think there's some question marks, Nicole, that we want to look at. And these are the turning points that I think, you know, Tom McEwen is right up there. But Figaro van Het Broekhoff has not been, I don't think he's been in the 20s in his last 3 tests. He's going to need to be in the 20s today. And look, we'll come to the dressage in a moment. But that's going to be a really big turning point for me. How close can Tom McEwen get? I would say you're likely to see people like Oliver Townend, Chris Burton, Tim Price, Gemma Tattersall, Emily King. All of these people can be, I would say, in that 25 to 28 range. And I think the big challenge, one of the things to look out for today, a turning point will be who is within a rail. Because rails can fall here. Event Rider Masters, very, very difficult to win if a rail does come down. But a key turning point, are you within a rail of those top fast horses? Then we go on to the show jumping round, Nicole. And I think the 2 big standout ones for me come Saturday morning are going to be Graf Liberty. Chris Burton, that combination, we know how good they are in the first phase. They've got a bit of range, but they're very good. We know how fast they are. But they haven't show jump clear at the top levels of the sport since 2015. If they have a rail, they open everything right back up. I would say Oliver Town and Ballamore Class, the exact same. And then finally, Saturday afternoon, I think Gemma, Tim and Bill. So Gemma Tattersall, Tim Price, world number 1, and Bill Levitt, loved in Event Rider Masters. I think those cross-country rounds. The ground is good out there right now. Will it be good enough for Gemma Tattersall? Tim Price doesn't want to start behind, and Bill Levitt get between the flags. These are the turning points. They're the key moments, but the best riders in the world taking on a brilliant track this weekend, Nicole.
Oh, we actually have got some of the best riders in the world. 4 of the world's top 5 FEI ranked riders in the world. Quite incredible. We are in for a real treat. We're a little under 10 minutes now from the first horse going down the centre line. That'll be Michael Ryan here on home soil. But let's go back to Hannah, who's with some of our Event Rider Masters family.
Yes, thanks, Nicole. I have got some of the stars here, including the current series leader, Janelle Price. But sadly, Janelle not in our lineup this weekend. Hi, Janelle. We're missing you. What's going on? Why aren't you here?
Look, I'm sad not to be here as well, but sadly had to prioritise other things at this particular point in the season. But planning on being linear, it's 4 counting scores. I just have to hope that these boys don't have too good a weekend.
So what are your plans for the next few weeks, apart from linear, of course?
Burley is a big one. Had a couple lining up there and one in the long here. And then hoping Grovine de Rev. He's on a little holiday at the moment, and then he'll come back and head to Linear.
But plans still very much to be on that podium at the end of the season?
Yeah, absolutely. 4 counting scores, of course, so I've got 3 in the bank, need 1 more. Could have done, obviously, with being here to try and trump one of the previous ones, but I'm not out of the mix just yet.
Well, it's bad news for you and bad news for us that you're not here, but very good news for a man who is from just across the pond from you, Bill Levitt. Bill, you are second. You're you're the highest rank person in the series here. Janelle's not here. It leaves it wide open for you, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's continuing, trying to get some solid series points again. The horse, he can deliver a good performance time in, time out. Very genuine. Big key for me is, like I've said probably in previous things, I've got to deliver a clear show jump round and a good dressage. It's great that it stopped raining, but he's not as fast as some of the horses in the class. So, I can't think about podiums too much, just about getting some series points. So that's my focus.
We've got you marked as the silent assassin. You've come, you sort of from nowhere. You've been really consistent, some really good top 10 results, and here you are in second place. Do you think you can hang on to that spot?
I've definitely got a chance because he does have a good test if I produce it, and he has a clear show jump round, and he's very honest cross country historically. So I've got to keep away from the flags, which have cost me a couple of good placings, and then just leave, try and take one less check to a lot of fences and try and find it out of a rhythm. So the course is a galloping course. I prefer that the hills weren't there, but they are there, and I don't think it's a particularly long track, so that'll be in our favour. So he's a super genuine horse. That's why he's second in the series. He just keeps on chipping away. So,
but it's a team effort, isn't it, Bill? And you've got one of your team members right here. And we are focusing on grooms. As much as we love you riders this weekend, it's all about the grooms. Ryan, tell me a little bit about your role with Bill.
I've been with Bill for 3 seasons now. And I went there as a working pupil originally and just loved the competition grooming. And Bill's been brilliant and taken me along to quite a lot of the ERMs this year, except for one where I lost my passport. But no, I love coming, and it's always so much fun coming to events, and it's brilliant seeing the horses you work with day in, day out at home, coming here, doing well, putting out a solid performance, and it's just brilliant. It's brilliant being here and supporting everybody, and just seeing your horses do well. It makes all the work at home really worth it to come and see them out and about at places like this.
Well, Shannondale Titan always looks stunning, so you do an incredible job. Thank you. Another man gunning for another podium place, Chris Burton. You have been unstoppable the last 2 seasons, Berto. How are you feeling about this season?
Yeah, we've had a bit of an up and down one so far, but we're excited to be here in Millstreet, and we've brought Graf Liberty out, old trusty, so lob him around and see how he goes. And I'm here with my very supportive owners, Jill and David, who've been supporting me since I've been in the UK, really.
Jill, I'm going to talk to you because owners are so important to this sport. You know, these amazing athletes wouldn't be here without your support. What does it mean to you to be here watching your horse compete with Chris?
Everything, to be perfectly honest. I've followed horses and had horses all my life, but to come and to be at events like this is just a huge step up, and one I never thought I would actually get to. So it's hugely exciting, and it was great to have met Chris actually while we were living in Sydney, and from then on that's when we became actual owners rather than just helpers, volunteers, whatever. It makes so much difference. It really does. The enjoyment for all of us and our friends who are here with us it's second to none.
And David, you with your wife Jill, you know, you're here supporting, you're a fellow Australian. Do you share Jill's passion?
Yeah, I mean, Jill is the primary one, but over the years she's dragged me into it, so I've come to love it as well. And it's all about us giving support for Chris and the horses, and it's very exciting. So we're enjoying. It's lovely to be here.
Okay, well, it's absolutely fantastic. The ERM family is not just the riders. We've got owners, we've got grooms, you name it, they're all here, and they're all so important to this fantastic series.
They really are a huge part of the Event Rider Masters and of eventing as a whole. But let's take a look at the running order. This is how things are shaping up, and the dressage in the Event Rider Masters is seeded. Guireg Licos, Esprit de la Loge, our winners in Jardy, they've got a very early draw, second into the arena. And look out for, in that first session of dressage, Izzy Taylor and Perfect Stranger, winners here at Millstreet in the long format section a couple of years ago. A little bit further down, and the big names keep on coming. Tom McEwen, Sam Watson, Echo Ratings will be rooting for him. Lucy Jackson on the podium at Chatsworth, and Jessie Campbell, Amsterdam. Good to see Jessie back lining up in an Event Rider Masters series. Then the 10 best combinations with the best dressage average in the field. Oliver Townend, Ballamore class getters underway, and all the way through to Emily King and Brookley. The big names just keep on coming, and we won't know who will be leading until that final combination finish their test at a little around 5:30 this afternoon. We'll hope you stay with us for all of the dressage. Let's go to Echo Ratings Corner and see who Dan thinks we need to look out for in this first phase.
Nicole, one of the numbers we've talked about all year, the 6-run average. It's a simple metric, but it's a very good basic predictor on where this field stands. And the 6RA for the field today, when we look at it as an average, is 30.9. So that gives you an idea of the caliber. You don't want to be too far above that. But let's take a look. The previous winners of this leg, well, we've never had a leg here, but of Millstreet, 4-star short, all of them have led after the dressage. So Stutter. Okay, sorry, last time.
Well done. We'll come back to him a little bit later on, but the dressage is about to get underway. Mark, let's just have a word for a second, because the Irish will no doubt be wanting to win on home soil, won't they?
They will, and they want to win everywhere, like everyone does. But I do think they have a couple of good ones in the bag, like Sarah Ennis and Sam, and some of the others will be here for experience, like the beginning 10. I think, they're all here for mileage, but I think we could be competitive. I'm being Irish right now.
Now, in terms of the Irish combinations, who do you think is going to be the one that challenges for the podium? I'm gonna stick with Echo Ratings and say Sam Watson.
I'm going to say Sarah Ennis.
Horseware Stellar Rebound.
Yes.
Who's been on an Event Rider Masters podium before, Chatsworth 2018. Well, watch this space, but we are just moments away from the action getting underway, and it is Michael Ryan for Ireland who will be the first combination to come down the centre line, and he rides Carol and Tom Henry's Barnahow Cornhill. Been huge supporters of Mike's for a number of years, and he is one of the most experienced riders in the field as well. And he's based not a million miles from us here in Millstreet, just in South Cork. It's a horse that is one of his younger stars coming through, just an 8-year-old by Chinook Clips. But he's been to 5 European Championships, the World Equestrian Games in 2006, the London 2012. Mark, he is very much a huge part of Irish eventing, isn't he?
He is, and he's a really, really nice man. He's really willing to help all the young riders. He's just very personable. He is known for his head cam sets that he does most of the local events. We see Michael going around most of the local events with his head cams. And he's got another team of horses coming along, and he's massive on hunting.
And wife
Huge
Patricia
hunting
is
fan.
also hugely experienced, has represented Ireland at many a major championship.
Yeah, I mean, the pair of them, between them, they're a really good partnership, and they just keep going and going. But Mike hunts mainly all winter long. I think we must have a problem, something going on with...
Well, Michael Ryan will be the first to go in just a moment. We'll get an update on him in just a second. But let's just introduce you to the members of our ground jury, who aren't just in charge of judging the dressage, but they're also in charge of the whole competition and making sure it runs smoothly. So they'll be the ones that make any decisions throughout the weekend, whether it be on flag penalties, anything like that. It's all down to the judges. Now at C from New Zealand, Andrew Benny. At M for Ireland's Van der Stewart. And at E, Jane Tolley. And they're three hugely experienced members of the ground jury, aren't they, Mark?
Hugely. I mean, Andrew judged. He was president in Rio, I believe, was Andrew. Very, very experienced. And I think everyone needs to know that these people they have to keep doing like courses and refreshers and the rule book changes, and they are under scrutiny themselves at all times.
They really are. And it's not an easy job, is it? You're a judge. What is it you're looking for in this dressage phase?
Basically, you want to see good training, following the scales of training, which is what we all follow the scales of training. So we want harmony, partnership, athleticism, with an added bit of sparkle is where so we don't want robots, but we want something that looks like a dancer.
A dancer.
A dancer.
And I think that's the thing, isn't it? You know, the event horse, it's very much the triathlon of equestrian sport, because we're expecting these horses to come into the dressage and do a really accurate, calm, relaxed, beautiful test.
Yeah.
Yet tomorrow they're going to have to go and show jump and then run really fast in the cross country. It's a real art, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think what goes through all three phases is athleticism. You know, the dressage horse has to be athletic. It has to be supple. Same with the show jumping, athletic, obedient, and then cross country, slightly athletic and very obedient, but bold, and brave.
And it is the art of the event horse, isn't it? Because, as we say, all three phases, and each of the three phases in the Event Rider Masters series has a real influence on that leaderboard. And we're looking forward to seeing how that will play out here in Millstreet. Don't forget, the 4 winners here in Millstreet in the 4-star previously have actually been the leaders after the first phase. So if that trend continues, as Echo ratings tell us it could well do, it might not, we'll wait and see. But if that trend continues, today is going to be all important. So we will be watching this space. Mark, can I ask you to give us a podium? Is that a bit bold of me? That's okay.
Podium for the whole 3 days? Right, my podium was, which I've put into my Echo Ratings.
Echo Ratings Eventing Prediction Centre. Nice there. If you haven't already logged your predictions, you can do so. EchoRatings.com.
My Echo Ratings were, obviously, Ollie, but I don't want to do the top 3. In the top 3 will be Oliver Townend, Tim Price, and I put Sarah Ennis.
Sarah Ennis, Horseware Stella Rebound. And who's going to lead at the end of dressage today?
Well, I predict 15 horses are going to go sub 30.
15 sub 30. That is a bold move, Mark.
And I believe the winner after dressage today will be. Oh, I'm looking.
Putting him under pressure now. Oliver Town and Ballamore class. Yeah. I have to admit, I would say that's a fairly safe bet. He is the first to go in that final session of dressage, so make sure you stay tuned for him. I think he's around 4:10 this afternoon. Other ones to watch, I think I have to say Alex Bragg Zagreb, who are the penultimate riders to go. They won in Jardy last year. They've been very, very good form this year. 3rd at Tattersalls, 3rd at Lemulan.
Yeah.
I think he's got a great chance.
I do. And I think we have the normal ones that the normal ones we're used to, but I think we should mention, and I want to mention, Lucy Jackson, Millie Dumas.
Yes, absolutely.
Dumas, sorry, I get it wrong every time. And Flora Harris. I think they're very good tests will come from them.
Well, watch this space, because those combinations all coming forward. But we had a small delay before the start of dressage, but getting us underway in just a moment will be Michael Ryan and Barnahound Cornhill for owners Carol and Tom Henry. They've got an average dressage from their last 5 runs of 37.7, which seeded them 27th in this first phase. Combination that, as I said, this horse only an 8-year-old, so stepped up to the level this year, went clear cross country at both Campfire and Kilgilkie. And a horse that will be coming forward in this first phase. Riding an 8-year-old at this level, Mark, they've stepped up to the level for the first time. It's a big ask, but it's about giving good experience, good mileage in the arena as well, because you can train as much as you like at home, but actually there's nothing that can replace match practice.
No, there isn't. And I think for an 8-year-old to have got the qualifications to be here, you know, you can't train everything. And I think for these horses they've got here as 8-year-olds, it's mainly the jumping that's probably got them here. The dressage will develop in time. And, you know, for the dressage horses, we don't expect them to be at peak till they're 10. And the same with event horses, really, peak at 10.
Peak at 10, absolutely. And in terms of him making his final preparations going into the arena, you know, he's got a couple of moments. There was a small delay, so the judge is just giving him a chance to make those final preparations before he goes into the arena. What's going through his mind now?
Well, he's having a little go-through of, I see the counter-canter movement, which is quite difficult, towards a flying change. But I notice he hasn't practiced the flying change, so maybe he's just going to wait to do it in the arena. So in the test, he would come across here now and do the flying change. Is he going to do one? No. So maybe the horse is anticipating that diagonal so that when he goes into the test, he's giving them some sort of look like, I'm really ready now. And to be fair, like 5 minutes being overrun, it won't make Michael stressed. But actually, in the horses peaking the horse, 5 minutes can make a big difference. Boil over.
We should say, shouldn't we, that a warm-up for a combination is quite often not just, you know, they go in and warm up for half an hour or so. It is an art. It is an art form, isn't it?
It is, and it is done down to minutes. And quite often, when you're riding a horse in a test, you're wishing you'd get these days. Some days, but normally at an event like this, you can guarantee it will be to the minute. And you know, he's moved next door to the arena beside where he's about to compete. So at least, but in a way.
That's quite nice, though, isn't it? Because actually it gets the horse, instead of moving into a different arena and a different atmosphere, and, you know, we've seen other events where, similar maybe at Chatsworth, they warm up outside and then all of a sudden they come through a tunnel into a big arena with lots of trade stands, lots of atmosphere, and the horses can get very lit up. Whereas actually this arena is perhaps lending itself more to those hot horses.
I would say this arena really lends to the horses that get tense and hot. Actually, there is no real reason to go in there and blow up, because actually, and surface-wise, and the warm-up here is still visible to the main arena. And so I don't think, like, we've been a few places where it's been like an amphitheatre, hasn't it, walking in, and the horses change characters. So the horses shouldn't change character.
Well, we will wait and see. Barnahound Cornhill getting us underway here in Millstreet, leg 5 of the 2019 Event Rider Masters series. And Michael Ryan will be one of a number of Irish riders in the field. They would dearly love to win or be on the podium on the very first Event Rider Masters leg on home soil. So coming down the centre line, and just will present to our ground jury for the first time. Mark, first impressions? Lovely square halt.
Lovely square halt, but the horse, you see, just sort of, I wouldn't say plopped to halt. So it just showed...
Technical term, Mark?
Very technical term. Gets written in all the books, you'll see it. So where it lacked engagement a little bit. So he dribbled into halt. It was nice and square, but he's straight into a clear shoulder in. It's quite difficult to get straight into a shoulder in a test. And the shoulder in enables you to do your best medium trot, because you had engagement from the shoulder in to the medium trot across the diagonal. We're liking that he's gone very stereotypically Irish with Ed Sheeran's Galway Girl in the music.
And we should say that the riders get to choose their music that accompanies their test. And it's not dressage to music in the traditional sense, but it's very much sort of tunes that they like listening to that complements the test as such.
It does, but we have seen some riders that actually have not actually complimented over the season.
We have, and then we've seen the likes of Chris Burton, who actually choreographs the music to his
exactly.
test. So it is very much, you know, a new innovation as part of the Event Rider Masters series.
Yeah.
I have to admit, I'm a fan of a bit of an Ed Sheeran song.
I think everybody loves Ed Sheeran is going Galway Girl. So there you see the horse was running. The judges will say he was running in the medium trot. And you can see here, like you could do with a bit more ground cover, the rhythm is a little bit too quick. And you can see just sort of like, just gets a bit into the floor, which again will develop as the horse gets stronger. So they will be saying hurried and a little bit more engagement, a few words that judges can use. And the rhythm shouldn't go any quicker. And he's going completely different genre of music now to his for his second choice of music.
A little bit of Despacito. Now, walk pirouettes, Mark.
Yeah.
They seem to be a bit of a myth. Well, certainly as far as I'm concerned. What are we looking for in the perfect walk pirouette?
Perfect walk
Or
pirouette.
an excellent walk pirouette, I should say.
To get the 10, because, you know, 10s are possible, you're looking for the horse to step around the size of a dinner plate. If we can get around a dustbin lid, we're doing well. The horse shouldn't cross its hind leg. Where the horse keeps walking, keeps supple, keeps an inside flexion. We've got a pirouette coming up now. This test helps because you should be able to come off the track here, do a little quarter turn. So he's got the inside hind there. Now he should be just making the horse supple down the inside rein. Could do with more activity in the walk. And then he should bend him to the inside. And then he should bring his front end, should come around the hind leg. And that wasn't a bad pirouette, but it was very large. So you could see where he ended up. He ended up having to cross his hind legs to get back onto the track at the end. Luckily where... Oh, we're getting the marks there. Yeah, so 6s. So luckily where those judges sat, they can't actually see the crossing of the hind leg at the end. I mean, these scores are what I was expecting before we see them sort of in the 6.5 range, because the horse just needs a bit more expression and flamboyancy, but he's very rideable. And Michael sort of, you know, be taking this as match practice, to be fair. I mean, I think it's very young, this horse, to be here.
An 8-year-old, but actually has 2 runs at this level already under his belt. Clear cross country in both of them. So very much having stepped up to the level comfortably.
You know, and I think the dressage will develop probably at a slower rate than the jumping does when they're 8-year-old event horses. But where the good thing with this horse is his mind looks very good and trainable. So he will develop more as he gets stronger. You know, and he has a better canter on this left rein. He's a little bit more engaged and he's lighter in the shoulder. Then we come for this flying change here. I mean, from behind, from that view, that was a much better change than the change to the left. And I think the horse has got a lot of promise. And it's the rideability I think Michael will be pleased with, and he will develop this with the winter's training. He'll develop more expression and strength. He got a very good halt at the end, but more engagement.
And a really nice rideable test from our pathfinders in the first phase. Barnahound, Cornhill, Michael Ryan, looking on course to give this horse best ever test at this level. Only 2 previous appearances, but 35.8 at Campfire last time out, and very much on target to beat that here with those trending scores. So Michael Ryan getting us underway, and he certainly wasn't at all deterred, Mark, by those few minutes delay, and the horse gave him a really, really nice experience and a clear round in the dressage.
You know, it was really good building blocks for the future. I mean, you should be really pleased with that. And, you know, and Mike was never going to get stressed ever, really.
So Michael Ryan will confirm his score for you when it does come through, but he gets us underway here in leg 5 of the Event Rider Masters here in Millstreet. And we've got some big names coming in right from the off. Next to come forward will be the Jardy winners. Guireg Lecar's Esprit de la Loge. Will come to them in just a moment, but Michael Ryan and Barnahound Cornhill will confirm his time for you in a moment. Well, 34.9, so breaks the 35 barrier and he sets the standard. And I think he'll be pretty happy with that from this young horse, and looking forward to seeing them in the jumping phases a little bit later on tomorrow. Now, though, it is the man who was so impressive in Jardy just a few weeks ago. Guireg Lecar's Esprit de la Loge. This horse, just a 9-year-old, really catapulted himself onto the Event Rider Masters scene when finishing 6th in Arville, and then absolutely blew everybody away by becoming the only combination to finish on their dressage score in Jardy to take the win. I think nobody was more surprised than Guireg to find him on top of the podium. Mark, is a big ask for this horse, only a 9-year-old, but he proved in Jardy he is more than capable. Really looking forward to them here.
And I think he has to be the moment of the season, doesn't he? His prize giving at Jardy. I mean, he was like like somebody shake me, wake me up. I
Yeah,
can't believe it's
pinch me.
happening. Yeah.
Well, let's have a look at this test, because 28.2, I think it was, in Jardy. That left him just outside the top 10. He's got an early draw mark. Is that going to be a disadvantage?
I think we don't like to say that dressage judges get warmed up, but they maybe do a little bit hold back. But I would imagine these three people are old enough to actually know a good thing when they see it. He drifted a little bit on that first centre line. What they're not going to like here is a little bit of tightness in the neck. Like, he has good energy, good action in the legs, but they won't particularly be liking that the horse is a little bit overbent, and you can see on that short side, the mouth is opening. It's a little bit quick.
He looks a little bit unsettled as to how we've seen
it looks
him
quite hot. But the quality of the movement, the preparation from the rider, and the forwardness, they're going to like, but it's why they won't get into the 8s and the 9 range. They just want a little bit more relaxation in the frame. You see, like there, the horse is slightly sort of chatting away to the rider, saying, no, I want to go. And he's not waiting terribly enough. And then there, this is quite an apt song for it.
Bruno Mars.
But it's like the go, go, go. We could just see, just needs more consistency. But
You can see the amount of presence this horse has, though, Mark, that he, even though there's a little bit of tension, he's still getting very good scores.
yeah, and that's what. So the only thing is stopping him, preventing him from doing, is getting the 8s and the higher marks that he's clearly capable of. And then normally it's the walk that would show if it's genuine tension, but actually that was a very good walk transition. I think that walk is very good, actually. Because you would have thought he maybe would have been 2 tenths. The pirouette could have been better prepared, and you can see that that got large and a bit sticky. That'd been the 6.5 range. But that's when you've got a tense horse, you can't actually collect them as much as you would like. And then the real test is the extended walk for the relaxation. And our camera angle is quite good because actually we can see whether it's over tracking, and we can see the hoof prints, and then he's not tracking up. So he's meant to over track from where the front leg went. The hind leg should overstep it, and he didn't. But it was true and correct in the walk. And then here is just like losing some activity in this walk to the right pirouette. And then he stepped out and he stepped wide, and that would be a 4 because it wasn't a pirouette. All right, maybe they want to give it 5s, but I'm maybe too mean. But this horse has, this is what I remember about this horse, this beautiful canter. He has very expressive forearm. It really keeps very good rhythm. The neck is a little bit short, the neck is a little bit tight. The flying change could have been more fluent. He sort of stuttered. Clean, but stuttered, I suppose, would be the word before he did the change.
7s and 7.5
exactly.
for his change.
And you see that is beautiful extended, but the frame needs to be more open, where his nose needs to be longer as well. So the frame needs to extend. The legs extended, but the frame didn't. And then there was a little bit of resistance as he came back. The judge at the side will be the one that have noticed that. The one behind him will not have seen that. And that's very expensive.
Shame. He was just breaking sub 30, and unfortunately, that's going to be
the quickest correction, though. Again, a clean change there, but a bit argumentative, for want of a better word, about the contact. And I think, like we've got, the horse has a lot of stamina. Lady Go. Sia's right with this music. But it said again there, he just underplayed that extended. And that halt said a lot.
just not quite as smooth as we've seen in his last couple of tests. But Guereg Lacan's Esprit de la Loge, who won in Jardy, they're not going to be challenging that 28.2. Mark, there was a lot to like in that test, but just a little bit too much tension and...
Yeah, and you could see the tension comes out in the mouth, because actually when they're tense, everything comes out in the mouth. And actually every time the rider tried to say, "Could you wait a little bit?" The horse sort of went. The horse sort of said to him, "Shut up, I know what I'm doing." Just a little bit cocky, 9-year-old probably feel I won last time out.
He's probably sat there thinking, well, I was on a podium in Jardy a couple of weeks ago. I want to get back up on there. But still a lot to like. And they're not going to be a million miles off where they need to be in the first phase, because we'll confirm their time for you in just, confirm their score for you in just a moment. Guereg Licos, Esprit de la Loge. But Guereg, of course, in 4th in the series standings as well. So a lot to look out for there in terms of putting in a series challenge. Just the 2 results in 6th in Arville and the win in Jardy gives him 51 points. But he is very much one to keep an eye on in terms of the series and the leg. So Esprit de la Loge and Guereg Licos will get their score for you. Mark, 31.1, do you think that's fair?
Totally fair, totally right. He's one of those horses that actually the rider would be like 31, that's quite annoying. Where most riders would be like 31, I'll take that any day. But he's 9 and it's there, and it's just the day that was in it. But 31, everyone's going to live with 31. But
there is a lot to like, and you can see just how impressively talented this horse is. But Guereg Licos, Esprit de la Loge, and they get 31.2 is their confirmed score. Next to come forward, it is a young man making his Event Rider Masters debut. For Great Britain, it is Daniel Alderson. Dan rides TS Jemimo, owned by the TS Jemimo Syndicate. And this a horse that I am so looking forward to seeing. 20 years of age now, TS Jemimo. Actually ridden by Chris Burton in the first ever Event Rider Masters leg at Chatsworth in 2016. Was the only person to make the optimum time on that occasion with Chris Burton on board. Dan has had the ride now for a couple of years, took him on at the beginning of last season. And a horse at 20 years of age, Mark, he's quite incredible.
Well, I think in his mind, he must still think he's about 10. But again, that goes to management, doesn't it? And we're saying about the grooms, the work, the backup teams, the physios, everything. And you would not think, looking at this horse, that he was 20 years old. Look, he's quite up for it. It could be a little bit more waiting for Daniel a little bit. But, the experience it must give a rider. Quite a big job to take a horse off Chris Burton, though.
Absolutely. And Dan's done a really brilliant job with him, because he's had some really solid results and they've stepped up to 4-star level. And a horse that is particularly excellent in the cross-country phase. His dressage is one that he's always sort of climbed the leaderboard slightly in the jumping phases. But this is an Adelaide 5-star winner. So he is one of the most experienced horses in the field, and Dan is doing a brilliant job. In terms of their tests so far, Mark?
More relaxation, really. You can see, particularly like there, he struggles in the rhythm. The horse says, let's do an extended trot, and then he won't really wait for Daniel, and the rhythm goes, and then the mouth is quite open. Then we get a little bit of step of passage there, just because we can, just before we go into walk. So it's relaxation would be the key, and I would imagine that is what they're writing, more suppleness, more relaxation. But it's actually the horse's mind. It's like, I just want to do this and really get onto it. And like the pirouette there, when Daniel put his leg on to prepare for the pirouette, the horse sort of jerked against his leg. And now we're getting all a bit boily and bubbly in this collected walk here, because there is just a mark for that collected walk. And now the worst bit of a test when you've got a tense horse, just to let the reins go and cruise across. But actually, he's staying regular in the walk. He could have more ground cover. The nose could be more forwards, but he's probably quite happy he's just walking.
Oh.
And now he's 20 years old and he's never seen flowers in his life before. This is why he's still going at 20.
Mark, there's flowers, and then there's flowers with hidden dragons in them.
But this is why this horse is still going at 20, because it has this mind. And I think this will be quite difficult to get this pirouette, because he's having to sort of just ask him. And actually, he manufactured that quite well. He sort of said to him, we're going to a pirouette, would you mind? And now we're all frisky.
He looks like he absolutely loves his job. Even if just a little bit too full of beans on occasion. And this is going to be a real test for Dan here, actually, because I can't imagine this is going to be an easy movement, Mark.
No, and this is why this movement is in here, to prove how relaxed the horses are and how rideable. And Dan was very, very tactful. He sort of said, could you just stay with me? And again, the flying change was clean, but it didn't need quite so much sort of drama through the horse's body. And it was like, the horse was a little bit like to the judges, like, look at me, I've done a flying change. We don't. And then his favourite bit, obviously, galloping down here, but crooked and a little wild. Because he can't really put his legs on to keep him straight.
He looks like he is ready for the dressage to be over and to just go straight down to the start of cross country.
Yeah. Now this pan is boiling. Yeah. And the lid has just fallen off.
So what do you do, Mark? The pan is boiling. How do you put that lid back on?
To be fair, the horse, it was quite convenient. He did that. He pulled off that really well. It was quite convenient when the lid fell off at the right time, actually, and he was able to get back onto the correct lead. You know, and he came with a very good flying change. I think timing-wise, it was perfect for the lid, if ever the lid was going to fall off. I don't know if Daniel's laughing.
Is that certainly still enjoying life and still enjoying his job at 20 years of age, and actually Dan doing a brilliant job at keeping everything together as they come to the end of their test. And that actually about right where the score should be for this horse, because 38.5 they scored at Tattersalls a little bit earlier on this year, so well in touch with that score. And actually they also scored 40.5 at Campfire last time out, so very much in the region of this horse's capabilities, and I think Dan will be pretty pleased with that. All things considered,
yeah.
Mark, he did a really good job, and I think he's showing his talent, because it's very difficult taking on a horse that has won a 5-star with Chris Burton, that has been renowned for being so quick across the country.
Yeah.
And actually he's doing a brilliant job, 38.5 into third.
I mean, you see, what is quite frustrating is that actually, if you just take a breath, the horse has the ability, the horse has all the movements, but the experience must come from the jumping and what he's going to get. And he's getting qualifying scores, though, isn't he? And so he can carry on, and the mileage Dan's getting at being able to come to these big events, this horse is worth his weight in gold, you know, and just if he'd just not be so excitable about life.
Well, certainly enjoying his job, T.S. Jemimo. Let's just take a look at that leaderboard at this early stage of competition, because it is Guireg Licos and Ace de la Loge who are the ones to beat at this stage. 31.1 out in front. Barnahound, Cornhill, Michael Ryan, 34.9 in second, and 38.5 for T.S. Jemimo and Daniel Alderson. We've just seen them go into third. So that is how things stand. And next to come forward is a young man making his Event Rider Masters debut for Ireland. And it will be Patrick Whelan. Patrick rides at Footfall. And this horse that has been such a star for Patrick over the years, because was actually his pony club horse that took him to the Young Rider Europeans here at Millstreet a couple of years ago, and has taken him all the way up to 4-star level as well. Fourth in Kilgilkey a little bit earlier on this year. Fourth at Ballindennis last year as well. Top 25 in the 3-star here at Millstreet a couple of years ago previously as well. So good form, and a combination really excited to make their Event Rider Masters debut. Not the smoothest of centre lines, Mark, but a great halt.
A very great halt, but it was a little bit dramatic, wasn't it? Actually, the horse, he prepared it very well, did Patrick, but actually just went against the hand, is what the comment would be there. And as a rider, you are a little bit like, oh, this has started well. So the shoulder in there, the horse fell in. The trouble is, what riders do, they practice this movement too much. They practice the shoulder into the medium trot. And this horse, you could see, he was started the shoulder in. He was like, we do medium trot now, don't we? And they're not really waiting, or, as we say in the business, on the aid. You know, he didn't really wait for Patrick at all. So that was a shame. Then the medium trot was a bit running. And just more suppleness. He's clearly doing the half pass, and he's placed it well. And he's better to the right than the left. This is where this is quite good, this movement, for the judge's point of view, because you get one half pass followed by the other. and you're completely like under an illusion which way the horse is better in the suppleness. So now he needs to hold his inside leg on into the outside rein a bit more. So that way he didn't fall in, but you could see he needs more flexion in the shoulder and you need to be able to see the inside eye more. And that was a better medium trot. And just needs a little bit more from behind. And this horse has one of those faces where he's really concentrating, but his concentrating face doesn't make him look that beautiful because he needs his ears forward. He's doing his concentration.
He's trying really hard.
He's got his trying face. So, like, again, there shows that he can do the medium trot. It just needs a clearer rhythm to be able to ride all the way to the end. That was a nice transition into the walk. And he does. His ears are like, right, what are we doing next? And after the event riders, dressage riders, it's not an event rider thing, the lack of the hatefulness of pirouettes. Dressage riders hate them as well.
They're not keen either.
No one's keen. And no one seems to be keen because judges can't seem to make up their mind about them either. So that was just very large. So that was more like round, bigger than a dustbin. I can't think of anything bigger than a dustbin lid, but it was too big. And the horse is very relaxed in the walk. And he's got nice over track. This is the best walk we've seen this morning. And the nose is in the right place. It's slightly in front of the vertical and poking. And then this is where the movement is difficult for the event horses, putting it back into the collection. And then here just could do with a bit more activity and connection and suppleness to get the pirouette. And then you see he crossed his hind legs there and he's not to cross. So they just think that's just a little bit lazy. Yeah, so the marks are according. So what I would like him to do here is just shorten his reins a little bit, make him a bit more supple through the turn into the serpentine, and just be a little bit rounder, because the canter just loses a little bit of the clear 3-beat. So we're looking at the horse as a 3-beat canter, and here it's just a little bit flat. So it makes it look like it's cantering a little bit more in heavy sand. And then that flying change was late and hollow. So hopefully he'll come down here and be able to get a bit more activity and energy from the extended canter. And then be able to use that as he collects him back up into the frame and into the contact for the serpentine. And make him a little bit more energized and a little bit rounder and between the hand and leg. And I'm giving all these very technical terms that everyone gets written on dressage sheets. Because here it just gets a little bit pokey in the nose. And this is where the flying change is difficult, because horse doesn't stay round enough or connected enough between the hand and leg. They'll do a really good flying change now. I said the canter's not right enough. Yeah.
And actually that is, I think, definitely late behind.
Just definitely, yes.
A little bit.
Just a little bit. But it was actually the whole ingredients for a late change were there with the quality of the canter and the throughness and the connection. Yeah. 2's quite kind.
2's across the board. And I think that's the point, isn't it? You know, with these tests, every one of those individual movements on their own is significantly less difficult than when you put them all together and they just keep on coming.
Yeah, and I think that's the whole thing. A dressage test is designed to prove your horse's training or where it is in the training. And this test, one movement does lead into the other. And if you can't do the serpentine, then the flying change won't come and blah, blah, blah. But it's all... They're not just done in a random thought that somebody wakes up, some horrible person designing a test thinks, that'll be funny to put that in. There actually is a reason. No one can believe there is a reason, but there is a reason to every movement. And when you can ride the horse, when you can do the movements, you're like, oh, I understand it now.
Well, Patrick Whelan getting his Event Rider Masters journey underway. He's completed his test and will confirm his score for you in just a second, but should go into 4th on the leaderboard at the moment. And it's a big intimidating thing, isn't it, Mark, to come in as a young rider against some of the best in the world in an elite field. And a huge credit to be here, to be competitive. And he'll learn a lot from this experience as well.
Will, and you know, he's really young, he's really hungry, I know, and I know him quite well. And he wants to learn. He's easy to teach, and you know, this is an old horse, and he's had it from Pony Club. And you know, how many people get to go international 4-star ERM on the TV on your Pony Club horse? You know, it's massive. But, you know, he's got a string of horses coming along and he will learn from this. And he's quite a laid-back guy, so actually, you know, it's massive for him.
Well, next to come forward for Ireland, it is Cathal Daniels with OLS King Arrogant. It's a gelding that is a part of a very impressive string that Cathal has put together. He's got a number of really nice horses off to the European Championships next week with Ryogan Rua for Team Ireland. And a horse that was actually just outside the top 10 in Kilgilkey a little bit earlier on this year. Scored 34.7 in the first phase. That's the horse's only previous run at this level. Mark?
Yeah, I mean, Cathal has, like you say, for a 22-year-old young man, he has a better CV than most 52-year-olds.
He's quite incredible, isn't he?
Yeah.
The fact that he is only 22.
Yeah.
And he's been on at Team Silver at the World Equestrian Games last year. He's won numerous medals at Pony Junior Young Rider level for Ireland. He's got such a team of horses, so competitive. And you know, if he's in the field, he's always going to go and give it his best shot.
He does, but his attention to detail and the team behind him, you know, it's a very professional setup. He has the most stunning yard with all lovely facilities and cross-country facilities. You know, it's a top draw operation. You know, and he rides well, and he's very good. And I think maybe when you're successful from young on, these big events from pony days are just like, it's what you do every weekend, you know. And this horse is really on side. It's got a lot of potential.
Only an 8-year-old again.
Yeah, you know, but you can see he has a really good contact, really good connection. And the horse is really on side. You know, it's very good in the contact. Preparation is good. So you could see there. So they would say stuck one step. So he just needed more activity. The preparation was very, very good. And that's the trouble with pirouettes. They are on the verge of either being very good or they can just go, oh, I've stuck one step and you get a 4. So you're on the verge of an 8 and then a second later. But again, very good for an 8-year-old. So we'd just like the nose there to be a little more from the vertical. You can see Cathal there trying to just sort of say to him with his hands, could you get your nose a little bit? I know what you meant to do. Yeah, but it was true and correct in the sequence. And like here, he's put the horse into the collected walk frame. But I think it needs to be a little more through and supple to get a decent walk pirouette. And you can see the rhythm varied a little bit, so it was just an indication of more suppleness. But again, for an 8-year-old, I wouldn't be overly concerned about the walk pirouettes yet. They will come as the horse gets stronger. And I would say it was cleverly ridden. There's a very lovely uphill way of going, as the judges like to say, that the horse looks like his bum goes down and his front goes up the hill. He could have touched the track better there. But maybe it's our camera then spotted that. The canter was very good. Okay, the change is very green. You know, those just green and just not on the aid. But again, that will come in time.
By green.
Sorry,
just
yes.
Inexperienced, isn't it?
Just inexperienced, yes, young. Yes. Just not secure. That button's a bit vague. But what I love about this horse is like here, it's so with him. And you can see it has the ability to collect, because this serpentine is very good, how the horse engages the inside hind leg, keeps a lovely rhythm, lovely balance, stays nice in the mouth, it stays very supple. And that was then late. But that will come, it will come back. You see the horse sort of ran away from him because it's not strong enough to hold that collection yet. But then, you know, it's two things that you can work on. It's not a bother to the horse to change. Just needs to get stronger and better at it. God, I like the E judge's mark for that. But you see, to be fair, that judge at E is behind him, so he wouldn't have seen it being late.
Well, Cahill Daniels and OLS King Aragon finishing their test, and this should be the horse's best performance at this level in the first phase. And Cahill, such a talented young rider, and actually Millstreet Young Rider Europeans, he finished it in individual 4th place here.
Very relaxed.
Well, Cahill just saluting to our ground jury. And Mark, our ground jury, Andrew, Benny, Van der Stewart, Jane Tolley, they've been really good at using a range of marks so far, haven't they?
Yeah,
We've
they
seen
have.
everything from a 2 to an 8.
Yeah, they have done what they're meant to do, which is very good. And that makes it actually exciting for the rest of the class. We've got into 8s already. You know, Cahill was getting some 8s.
Can I ask if you're standing by your 15 sub-30 prediction?
Yes, I am. I expected one from this section to get below 30, and then the rest come.
There's still plenty of time. We've still got 5 to go in this section. So we're just waiting for the score for Cahill Daniels and OLS King Aragon. And don't forget, 34.0 into 2nd place at the moment. And don't forget that you can get involved with the SAP Spectator judging app as well. Very close to actually our ground jury, just 0.1 out, also having him in 2nd. You can download that for free in your app store. And make sure you build those fan points throughout the weekend. Double points are available in stacks. There's some bonus questions as well for Echo Ratings. Make sure that you do everything you can, because that very, very special VIP trip to Stuttgart is on offer for the winner of the ERM Fan League. Well, next to come forward, a man who's been in very good form recently. It is Carlos Parro, and Carlos rides Calcourt Landline for Brazil. Took the individual bronze medal and team silver at the Pan American Games in Lima, Peru just a few weeks ago, securing Brazil a team ticket to Tokyo Olympics next year. And Rui Fonseca, who was on that silver medal winning team out in Brazil, tuned in to eventridermasters.tv here this weekend. If you're tuned in, let us know where you're watching from. Get in touch with us on social media, and don't forget, you can vote for your Equistro Groom as well. Use the hashtag Equistro Groom on social media. So here comes Carlos Parro and Calcourt Landline, owned by Carlos alongside M-Tech Laboratories, and a horse that actually missed the 2018 season, but is very much going to be part of Team Brazil's plans heading into Tokyo 2020. And so this is an important test for them. And a horse who came back at Jardy a little bit earlier on this summer and went very well at the level below. And I think Carlos Parro riding to some rather inventive music, Barbie Girl accompanying his test. I think he asked somebody else to pick this for him. I'm not sure he'll be doing that again in the future, but a nice backdrop.
Sorry, I'm still giggling at that music.
And if you aren't hearing the music on Facebook, you can go to eventridermasters.tv, because then you'll hear all of our riders' music selections. I'm quite excited to hear what his second song choice will be, Mark. But back to his test. How's things going?
So his halt started with a bit of backward thinking, but actually, you know, the horse is very supple, very regular, but I want a little bit more sparkle, a little bit more activity just to get him into the 8s. So a little bit more activity from behind, especially in that medium trot. And he didn't really ride it out to the end. The judges are wanting them to ride to the marker and actually finish a sentence, new sentence, begin the next movement. So there he had no punctuation after his transition.
Punctuation, that's a very good term for dressage, Mark.
Just popping out all these things today. So here, his sentence dribbled out, and so it should have gone to the end. So there was no punctuation. And we want medium trot, full stop, new sentence. So that's where you can't go above a 7, because actually it didn't go to the end. Punctuation.
Punctuation, we like that a lot.
Yeah.
Very makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So the walk looks very good for a pirouette. And I was right. The reason why the walk was good, the horse was in a really lovely round connected frame. The walk was collected. So the horse, if you were running down the street and somebody's dropped a €50 note or a £50 note on the floor, you have to slow down to pick it up. And for me, that's the same as a pirouette. If the walk is massive and you ask the horse to turn it has to slow down. And actually, that's when the pirouettes end up not being so good. Now, we think E is very mean in her mark of pirouettes. Yeah, so it's conservative.
Well, the team watching on Carlos's test and actually looking on track to go into the lead as things stand at the moment, Carlos Parro.
So that pirouette wasn't as good as the other one because the walk you could see across the middle wasn't as active, so his steps weren't as high. So it was a little bit, as I would say, he yawned during his pirouette. But, you know, it was still a pirouette, it was still clear, but I couldn't get onto the 8s. I mean, this horse as a type is a rounder type. It's built rounder. It's a shorter wheelbase than some we've had this morning. And that was the most beautiful change we've had all day. It was lovely in the canter, in the same rhythm, and actually the horse looked like he sort of jumped a ball in the flying change. The change was better than the canter, and that's what you're looking for. And I'm completely agreeing with C, that 8 is the mark it needed. So it doesn't have the greatest extended canter, which is funny for an event horse. So in the extended canter, the extended trots, the extended everything, so we're looking that the stride gets bigger, not faster. And see, this horse just has a canter designed to do nice flying changes. It's like round, engaged, and lovely and expressive, bang on the aid, and placed exactly over the centre line.
Well, this is a very impressive test from a Brazilian in form, because Carlos Parro is looking to go into the lead here with Calcourt Landline, but he's not only just looking to go into the lead, but he is looking for a career personal best for him and the horse at this level of competition as well. Previous best 30.6 at Chatsworth a couple of years ago. So Carlos Parro and Calcourt Landline will be our new leaders here in Millstreet. And his team will be, no doubt, absolutely delighted with that, because this horse that has had a little bit of time off, but Mark, deserves well and truly to be out in front. Now, we should just say that we commented on Carlos's music suggestions, and actually, a little bird told me that it is Alex Watian who had a hand in his music choices. So Alex better watch out next time he's in an Event Rider Masters leg.
There'll be some revenge. But actually, if that was Lucky Music, who cares?
Who cares? He'll be having Barbie Girl playing on in the school at home now. Yeah. Carlos Parro, impressive with Calcourt Landline. And what was it about that test, Mark, that really just set it apart?
It was the harmony, and it was the correct way of going, and actually the connection, the throughness, everything the dressage just is looking, the suppleness, and the horse was so lovely in the hand, and so on the aids, and just as I was saying that, yeah.
Well, brilliant for Carlos. It is a new personal best for him and the horse at this level, 28.1. The Equa Ratings numbers coming into play early on here in Millstreet, and they are the ones to beat. Mark, you've got your first sub-30 in the session.
Yeah, and he wasn't the one I was banking on.
Oh, who were you banking on?
I'm banking on Izzy.
Sorry?
Izzy
Taylor. Well, Izzy Taylor will be the penultimate rider in this section, but Carlos Parro is the one to beat. And hugely impressive in this first phase. Looking forward to seeing them in the jumping phases. As next to come forward, it is Jim Newsom. Jim rides McGuinness. This a horse that has been such a star for him over the years, has been his real 5-star campaigner, 17 years of age now. And actually, a horse that is by Limerick, who is also the sire of two of the key contenders in this leg, Graf Liberty, Chris Burton's ride, and Bill Levitt's Shannondale Titan as well, both by Limerick. So certainly in very good company. And Jim actually won Ballindenisk at this level on this horse last year, completed Badminton previously as well, has been top 20 at Millstreet here in the 4-star short a couple of years ago, back in 2016. And this is a horse that he rode at the European Championships in Malmo for Team Ireland back in 2013. So a vast amount of experience coming forward, and a combination who certainly know their way around the course here at Millstreet as well.
A really nice start. I mean, this horse has an impressive frame, and it sort of looks like it's the part. It has a better canter than trot. The trot needs a little bit of a slower rhythm. You can see it's just a little bit quick. actually clear into the medium trot there. Started well that medium, but didn't really finish it. And I think you see it's like losing the rhythm there, and regularity a little bit. But because I think the horse is quite tense, and so the rhythm varies. Again, like there, so the 1-2 is like varying all the time. So the judges won't be liking that too much. And we've gone completely different in our music choices from to like here in the shoulder in. Just more suppleness, and again more rhythm. You see like there, it's not even behind always. Doesn't look the easiest to ride today. So it starts well there, but then the horse just loses balance and the neck comes a little bit too high. And just problems into that walk transition there where it just went bum high and just came against his leg. Another older horse that's right up for it still. The two old horses have been right up for it this morning.
Enjoying their job.
There they are. So that pirouette stepped out. We've not seen anybody near a dinner plate yet. And then you can see there's still tension here in the walk as it starts. So it's just keeping the correct sequence, but actually lacking the ground cover, just lacking breathing.
By lacking breathing, do you mean the horse just needs to take
breathe?
A breath? Just
yes.
relax.
Just relax. Just take a big breath. But the horse is like, there's no point in taking a breath because in a minute we'll be cantering.
Mm-hmm. And then tomorrow we'll be going cross country.
Yeah. And yeah, so we saw the legs. The legs were quite good, but I don't know what the mouth was doing. So it's different. So when you first start judging walk pirouettes and old pirouettes, Canter pirouettes, as a judge, you can't look at the whole picture. And I remember being told about 5 years ago when I first started judging, just look at the legs, because if the legs are doing the right thing, the mouth probably isn't doing it. Is probably doing the right thing. But as you get more experience, you can look at the whole picture. So that was just tension before that change. The horse was like anticipating it. So it wasn't really owned. Jim didn't own that change. The horse did. And again there, you can't really take a breath enough to really let the horse properly extend, or truly extend. The music's making the grooms jog around there.
I think Newsom Equestrian as a team are enjoying this music choice.
So it's breathing better on this Serpentine. That's it. So this should be better. Nope. Oops. So it was a little bit dramatic. So actually, to be fair to Jim, all the ingredients were right. The canter was right. The line was right. And then the horse was just like, no, I'm sorry, I can't listen to you. Just too excited. I think Jim may be glad that this test is coming to an end.
Well, paying the price for that flying change at the end, and very quick to halt. Jim Newsom and McGuinness trending around the 40 mark, so not going to challenge our leaders of Carlos Paro. 28.1 the score to beat. And the horse there, Mark, 17 years of age, still looking like he's thoroughly enjoying his love of the job, but just unfortunately that cost him some of the higher marks. The mistakes were expensive. Yeah,
it's just the tension wasn't enabling Jim to be able to actually put the horse where he wanted to put the horse, and the horse was like, I know the test, like, sure, I know it. So, I know there's fine change here, and it was then very dramatic to the aides and stuff. And it's one of those tests where it just, And the horses still got it in there, and that was probably the frustrating thing. You know, the mind. You know.
Well, 41.9, so they go into 6th at the moment, Jim Newson. And again, as I say, one of the most experienced horses in the field, has completed badminton, won at this level at Ballindennis last year as well. So very much one that is been at the top of his game for a number of years. And as I say, went to Malmo European Championships back in 2013 as well, where his team were just enjoying the music. And I have to admit, if you want to listen to that music, it is most enjoyable to have in the background playing. Go to eventridermasters.tv and watch the live stream on the website. Well, next in the arena is coming forward will be Sam Griffiths. Sam for Australia rides Billy Liffey. And Sam, who's been a stalwart for Australia at top level eventing for a number of years, placed individual 4th and team bronze at the Olympic Games in Rio. And comes down this centre line with Billy Liffey, a horse that he took over from Olivia Craddock, who actually took the horse up to 5-star level.
And Olivia's moved to Ireland. Look, she lives in Ireland now, does?
There we go.
Yeah. I've seen this horse do some lovely, lovely tests.
Only a 12-year-old, beautifully bred by the wonderful show jumping sire Billy Congo. And certainly pretty impressive entry for our judges as well.
Yeah, and you see like there, it was a very good medium trot because it actually stayed in the same rhythm, the same 1-2. And he finished his sentence and he put a exclamation mark. I had to give him more because actually I liked his punctuation at the end. So we could have more lateral bend there. You can see like he's much better to the right. So his nose is pointing where he wants to go and he's bent around his inside leg more. So the half-past right should be a whole mark higher than the half-past left. All horses like ourselves are one-sided.
It's left-handed, right-handed.
Like left-handed, right-handed, and as riders and as a trainer, everybody's like, my horse is so stiff to the left, and you're like, but we are stiff one way as well, but actually horses are somehow meant to be even. They don't really get, riders don't really give them sort of credit for being one-sided. So it could have had more power from behind there, but it was in a nice rhythm. Set that up well, and the horse looks willing to go to the whole end of the arena. And like there, he rode that to the end, and then there was an ender to M. Yes, the horse could have more ground cover, but actually it hasn't probably got any more in him than that yet. But I think like Sam is showing actually how you should ride transitions, how you ride the movements, and he's presenting the horse very well.
How much of dressage is ringmanship and kind of...
The ringmanship gives, I'd say, gives an extra 3%. Gives an extra, 3 to 4%. Riding corners, detail, and actually that's where the best come out. And to be fair, like to Ingrid, her horse is not the best mover in the world, but she does not give a mark away. So Sam could have maybe set that walk pirouette up a little bit better. But maybe he knows something about it. Because some horses get quite funny in the collection and actually can sort of get a little bit angsty. So maybe just sort of just pacify him and just let him just turn. Slightly better to the right, but it was more like, would you mind doing a pirouette than actually Sam being able to ride the pirouette. It's a lovely canter. You expect from that, from being show jumping bred. Just getting a little bit tight in the contact and the neck there. So just tries to make him more supple. You see Sam with his hands there, just trying to make him stay soft in the rein. Clean change, but a little bit hollow, so the horse actually came off the contact. It was a very good change in expression. Now, that's a good example of an extended canter in the legs. The frame could have been a little longer, but I think Sam's slightly getting his double handful now. talking like a racehorse. You see, like at the end, the horse was a little bit like, I don't want to come back necessarily. So it's quite nice in the canter quality and the suppleness and the throughness. Ooh. Ooh. Ooh.
Expressive,
That was a little
extravagant.
bit cheeky, wasn't it? Yeah. And I had no idea why, because you would have thought actually Sam really had that and thought that actually this will be a very good change. And the horse was a bit like, yeah, you thought so. Just what horses can do.
Do you think 554 is reasonably
Generous.
Sam will be happy with that. He'll take that. Absolutely. Well, this was still a very good test and a lovely finish for Sam Griffiths. And Billy Liffey is a horse owned by Viscount and Viscountess Rothermere, and a horse that was bought for Sam last year. Has been top 10 in Samur in the 4-star, and no doubt one Sam is thinking of with an eye on Tokyo 2020 as well. So Sam Griffiths and Billy Liffey completing their test, and we'll confirm that score for you in just a second. Let's have a look at this change again. Well, Billy Liffey, very well bred, particularly for the jumping phases. And that was the fairly extravagant second change, but didn't prove too costly in the end. We'll confirm his score for you in just a second, and to where that will put him on the leaderboard. The one to beat at the moment, remember, Calcourt Landline, Carlos Parro, who are on a score of 28. So that is how things stand. 32.0, so into third for Sam and Billy Liffey. They go behind Esprit de la Loge in second, and behind Carlos Parro, Calcourt Landline, who are the ones to beat. Well, one of the new partnerships that we've got here in the Event Rider Masters in Millstreet is the partnership with Equistro, who have come on board, and they want to reward the unsung heroes in the eventing world, who are the grooms. And we have a really special feature coming for you tomorrow on actually Charlotte Andrews, who works for Sam Griffiths, and she's got an Equistro bucket of goodies, as have all of the grooms here by Equistro, who very kindly donated a goodie bag to each of the grooms. And there is a huge prize on offer as well for the winning groom. You can vote using the hashtag EquiStroGroom on social media. Now it is the turn of Izzy Taylor, and Izzy rides a horse that has actually won the long format 4-star here a couple of years ago at Millstreet, so a winner here previously. Rides Perfect Stranger, horse owned by Alex Phillips, whose career actually was started by Andrew Nicholson. Izzy took on the ride a couple of years ago and has had a good deal of success with the horse, 8th at Burton in their last international run, and a horse that is very capable of putting in a 20s dressage. So this was the one, Mark, that you said was going to be sub 30.
I did.
Are you revising that opinion now?
The horse just looks a little tense in the contact and a little unsettled. You see, like there, she's trying to say to him, could you bend? And he's a little bit like disagreeing with her. You know, and it wouldn't be for want of Izzy not knowing what she's doing. But like here, she's like, could you be just a little bit rounder, a little bit softer? And he's a bit like, I'd rather not if you didn't mind. It would be. But how beautiful, like, it's such a mover. And I can see where he gets, and this is why I thought he was going to get in the sub.
This is one that actually, when we go into the show jumping tomorrow morning, if she is well in touch, Izzy sat on one of the best jumpers in the entire field, just 2 poles down in the horse's last 13 internationals. So,
you know, like they're really willing and really good in the steps, but he just needs to be softer in the mouth and the neck. He's just trying to pull the rein away from her a little bit too much and disengage from behind, and not say, in a very technical way, through. But the judge at C obviously liked that the horse actually was really willing, and you know, they're still on an 8. They've still got 9 and 10. I think we forget there's 9s and 10s sometimes. I think we think that most marks go, the max is 8, but it's not. And that first part of that pirouette was super, and then he just stuck and just sort of stiffened against it and lost a step. You can see like there on that shot there, how unsettled he is in the mouth, and his tongue's lolling up sort of, which shows tension when they're not that settled in the mouth. You know, more extended, more over track in that extended. can see how he, and you can see there's tension here as she picks him back into that collected walk. She's all a little bit fragile, walking on eggshells for want of a better word. Although I don't write that on the dressage sheet, probably won't be liked. And so like that pirouette, she had to sort of just say to him, can you turn? And she actually rode that skillfully and made the second half better than the first half. And a little bit of a dribble into the Canter transition. So like here you can just see she's, ooh.
And it was a beautiful change.
It was, and I was just about to say, you can see, she was just saying to the horse, you need to be rounder, and that's when he sort of went to, no, I'm not going to be rounder, and sort of resisted by the change. It's like, don't you worry, I've got a trick for your roundness.
And again, another
change.
beautiful change when it was necessary.
Yeah, but I mean, one's down to the Canter.
And that proves very expensive, doesn't it, on that final score?
But it was because she was saying to him, you need to be rounder, and he was like, I'm not going to be rounder, try this for size, try a flying change. They are clever creatures.
I think it was Thomas Carlyle who once said on commentary a couple of years ago that the best flying changes are like kisses. They're the ones that you don't ask for.
I bet he doesn't ask for many. He doesn't have to ask for many. But again, lovely changes. This horse does have beautiful changes. And it has beautiful paces, but you can see, like, mentally from the start, he's not really allowed her to ride him. I hate the word submission, but that is what it would be underlined if it was on the bottom of the sheet. He hasn't really allowed her in. He's allowed her to compromise with him. And then just that right hind resting in that hole. That's very disappointing.
Well, Izzy Taylor, perfect stranger, perhaps thinking a little bit about what could have been with their test, because lots to like, but a couple of very expensive mistakes. And it's a difficult one, isn't it, Mark? Because Izzy, she's one of the most experienced riders in the world. And actually, she did everything she could there, but the horse was just not 100% playing ball.
No. And, you know, they are a living creature, and sometimes they get out of bed and they're just, actually, I'm just not in the mood for this today. You know, it's that they probably, if he could called in sick today, he might have called in sick.
Well, he's 17 years of age and has been a real star throughout his international career. Perfect stranger. And Izzy Taylor just completing their test. So we'll confirm their score for you in just a second, but they are the penultimate riders to go in this first session. So the one to beat at the moment remains Carlos Parro and Calcourt Landline, who are out in front on a score of 28.0. And just one left to go, Elizabeth Power and Samuel Thomas, who will be coming forward in just a moment. But 37.4, so into sixth for Izzy. And you just see where that horse just put in a flying change that he wasn't quite meant to do. But that was costly. And you guys at home, actually, with the SAP Spectator judging at 34.3, you would have judged her inside the top 10. So Izzy Taylor goes into sixth with Perfect Stranger. And we've one combination to come forward before the lunch break. And it is Elizabeth Power. Izzy rides Samuel Thomas, owned by Sue Chadwick and Comfy Limited. Sue actually started this horse's career a few years ago. Oliver Townend actually competed the horse numerous 5 stars, finished 7th at Burley back in 2016, and Izzy's had the ride for a couple of years now. Went very well earlier this year to finish in 4th place at Tattersalls in the long format 4-star. And 15 years of age, Samuel Thomas. And Izzy has been on incredible form recently in the pure show jumping discipline. Had a couple of wins at Dublin Horse Show a few weeks ago, has been competing at Hickstead in the Derby, and certainly a force to be reckoned with. So Elizabeth Power, Samuel Thomas coming forward for Ireland now.
The first horse we've seen with a double bridle on today. They're getting less and less double bridles, actually. So a very good halt, really good beginning, quite positive in the move off. Clear in the angle. So I'd like the rhythm a little slower, and you could have a little more cadence in the trot. because he's a little bit hurried in his step. And more difference in the medium trot. Doesn't have the biggest of working trots. And so we just need more suppleness there. Very well positioned. We can see we're just losing the bend a little bit to the right. And finished it. And you can just see he's making her work quite hard, actually. She's having to use a little bit more leg than she probably would like. So clear in the angle of the shoulder in, but just more suppleness and rhythm. And again there, just more ground cover. It's just running in the medium trot. And she's clever. She sort of started to fool the judges a little bit. She made some transition back at whatever that ladder was in that corner, because I'm really good at my ladders. And she's trying to fool them. She did do a medium trot. But sadly, these are wiser, these people. And there's just some resistance as well there. And you see it just petered out and didn't go to the end. And then he's just losing a few more marks with the way he just keeps nodding his head a little bit like that against the hand. So the walk is a nice quality for the collected walk. So you can see, like here, just getting behind the vertical. And then this is very large. So that was round a hula hoop, rather, I'd say. Not a hula hoop crisp, a hula hoop one that you do around your waist. And you can see here, the judge in the front of them will have seen his tongue a little bit, his mouth opening. They don't want to see his tongue. And that's why he gives those little head flicks. So you can see that Isip's trying to encourage him with her leg to actually take his nose forward and just march out a little bit more. He's making her work too hard. But the walk itself is very correct. Second half was better. And now she'll be hoping actually he's going to light up a little bit in the canter. Yeah, the canter's got much more natural energy. Which you expect in the event horses, that actually they pick up the canter and it is sort of what they spend most of their life doing in one way or another. Yeah, so it's like a different horse in canter, much more energetic, much more supple. A lovely flying change. It's a bit like I've got the trot work done. Now I'm doing my favourite part now. So this is where we'll be hoping the marks will, well they are, the marks will improve and the score will drop. So could have been a little bit braver to the end there. She started pulling up at the flowers. Just getting a little tight in the neck. Like there, she's able just to play with the snaffle rein, keep him soft in the neck. So it's a preparation from this loop here to get them on the hind leg, ready for this flying change. So get the balance and the shoulder up. Oh, that was mistimed on the aid and then was late. That was a shame, actually. And again, because we've just gone to the end of the line there more.
Well, a slightly rueful puff of the cheeks for Elizabeth Power and Samuel Thomas, who will bring their score for you, but not going to challenge our leaders as we head into the lunch break. So 1/3 of the way through the competition here, leg 5 of the 2019 Event Rider Masters Series, the first time the series has come over to Ireland. And there was a lot to like in that test mark, but just didn't quite get the bigger marks for Isip.
No, and I think he didn't. He looked quite reluctant in the trot, and then the canter. That was a shame about that flying change, because actually the canter marks were helping the score, and then he lost that flying change, which is just. And her face said it all, really. actually, that big puff. That
a little
roof.
bit what could have been. They're not quite able to challenge the best test that they've had as a combination, which was at Gatcombe last year, which was 34.6. But Elizabeth Power and Samuel Thomas taking us into the lunch break here. The leader at lunch will be Carlos Paro and Calcourt Landline, who are out in front on 28.0. So they're the ones to beat. We'll come to the full leaderboard for you in a few moments' time. But Elizabeth Power and Samuel Thomas, still watch out for them in the jumping phases, because this is a horse that can really be very quick across the country when competing at 5-star, was always one that you looked for as an indication of that optimum time. And Izib is an exceptional jockey, put in that brilliant cross-country performance with Soladoon a couple of years ago at Gatcombe to end up in 3rd place on the podium. So not to be discounted. And that was the first flying change, which was really very impressive. And she did get some good marks that came through, just a couple of expensive mistakes. So Izib Power, 37.3. So she goes into 6th place at the moment. And you guys at home almost agreeing with our judges, the SAP Spectator judging app. And don't forget, you can download that for free in your app store. And lots of extra ERM Fan League points on offer here this weekend. So don't forget, you can take advantage of that. This brilliant opportunity to get involved. But let's go to Hannah and hear how Izib thought of that test.
Thanks, Nicole. Well, we'll see if we can grab a quick chat with Izib now. She's just being seen by the FEI officials just to make sure everything's all right. Izib, there were some real highlights to that, but also some expensive mistakes.
Yeah, look, I'm not on a dressage horse, and that's not why he's here. You know, I mean, Sam's been around long before me, and he's not a dressage horse. He's not built to do it, and he finds it difficult. And all I want from him is to go in and do exactly what he did and stay with me. And yeah, we didn't get the second change and stuff like that. And if you can get everything, then but he's not going to win the dressage. But hopefully, I went around on a young horse today, and it was deep and tough out there. So hopefully tomorrow we'll play to our strengths.
You've had an amazing couple of months, Dublin Horse Show, 2 wins there, and we've got that discipline coming next, that phase next, haven't we?
Yeah, I mean, Sam can catch up on a good day, so hopefully he's on a good day, and the next 2 phases can be influential for him.
Best of luck, is it?
Cheers, thank you.
Well, really interesting to hear that the ground is tough out there on the cross country. That'll play into the hands of a few people. But Carlos Paro, the one to beat. Brazil out in front. A really international field to the top 4 on proceedings. Calcourt Landline, 28.0. Guirec Licence, the Jardy winner. Esprit de la Loge, a couple of mistakes sees them. Currently sitting in 2nd, 31.1. Sam Griffiths, Billy Liffey in 3rd at the moment. Then come a number of Irish combinations a little bit further down. Patrick Whelan, Footfall, making their Event Rider Masters debut this weekend. And don't forget, you guys at home can get involved with the SAP Spectator judging app. So 1/3 of the way through the competition. Let's take a look at the running order for those coming forward after the lunch break. So we will be back at 2:25 for the first of these combinations. And who will be getting us underway in the first of those? It will be Bubby Upton and Cannavaro, but the big names just keep on coming. Tom McEwen, Sam Watson, Sarah Cohen, Lucy Jackson, Jessie Campbell. I'm going to say Richard Coney, a dark horse to keep an eye on. And of course, that final session has all the big names in as well. So the final session, that has the likes of Oliver Townend. He'll be first in that final group with Ballamore Class, the Burley winner, Tim Price and Westco, Chris Burton, Graf Liberty. If conditions are tough out there on the cross country, that could really play into his hands as well. And last to go, Emily King and Brookley as well. So very, very exciting horses and riders still to come forward in these final 2 sessions of dressage. We hope you've enjoyed all of the action so far. Mark Ruddock in the studio with me. Mark, just a word on the dressage so far. Highlight for you?
I can't remember his name.
Carlos Paro?
Yes.
The Brazilian.
Totally,
There you go.
totally.
Yeah.
And 2 disappointments in Sam and Izzy. They should have, just wasn't their day.
Wasn't their day. And it is. Horses are live creatures, and actually, sometimes it's not their day. Yeah. So Sam Griffiths, Izzy Taylor.
Sick day.
And there's still, as we say, if the conditions are tough out there, there is still very much chance for this not to be a dressage competition, that it can be a jumping competition. Heading forward to this afternoon, who are you really looking forward to seeing?
Next session, obviously Sarah Cohen.
Treason, big
And
Event Rider Masters
and then
favourite.
Probably the whole 10 of the last 10. Every single one of them.
They are not going to like big names coming straight out of the bat. So getting us underway, Bubby Upton, one of the most talented young riders on the circuit, inside the top 50. And 2 years ago at Millstreet, she actually took the Junior European title on an incredible dressage score of 15.9. That was with ERSDHI. She comes forward with Cannavaro this time. So make sure you join us for all of the action this afternoon in the dressage here at leg 5 of the 2019 Event Rider Masters Series in Millstreet. We'll be back at 2:25. Don't miss any of the action. And don't forget that you can vote on our social media channels for your favourite Equistro groom. Use the hashtag Equistro groom. Some brilliant prizes to be won for the top 3 grooms here this weekend. We'll be back very shortly. We'll see you at 2:25 for the rest of the action.